hello. Hello, everyone. Hello, Ian. Hope you're having time. I'm having a bowl of cereal. I'm making the first toss. You know, there we go. You know how it is. It's I don't know. I'm feeling like weirdly tired. I've been up for maybe like 3 or so hours. I'm like, oh, I'm tired. So I'm having a sugary bowl of cereal, you know? Michael, hello. Maybe sleep more, sleepy boy. I mean, how long did I sleep for? We don't need to answer that. I don't know. I tried. Right? Like I woke up and I was like, maybe I'll go back to sleep. Right? And then I just couldn't. Like I rolled around for like an hour. Like trying to go back to sleep. And it just didn't happen. I'm like, well, now I'm just wasting time, right? I could be up doing things, right? So, you know, do that, I guess. How? No, I made dinner. You know, recorded like a bit more of that one game, the Violet of Memoir. Yeah, that's the thing. That's a VN, right? Oh. A relaxing and replenishing night, like after the stream, probably. I mean, I gotta do a couple things after the stream, but you know. Man, I don't know about you guys, but I really like this main menu. It's cozy, you know? I'm here with all of my best friends. You know? I love this track. You know, it's so soothing. It's so beautiful, you know? So many good memories. So many good memories. Here, we'll go into the gallery real quick. For no reason. No reason. Oh man. Don't worry, I'll start reading once I finish this bowl of cereal. It's okay. Bad? What do you mean bad? Look. Sometimes I just need a little pick-me-up. You know what I mean? I don't know. Is this pre-stream? It really is. Man, like, I probably shouldn't have done this when I was eating dinner. Because, like, you know, VTuber talk real quick, right? Right? I know that no one cares. I know that no one cares. But, like I had read the news, like, yesterday. And I was like, that's so sad. Right? Like, it's so sad. And so like today, I'm like, well, I'll watch that stream. I'll watch Nina's announcement stream, right? Because you know, and it's like, oh, like it felt so bad, like hearing her talk about like, oh, she's graduating next week. Because like that came out of nowhere. It's just kind of like, oh, by the way, I'm graduating next week. It's what? But Nina, you've been here with us for like 2 years. And it felt bad like hearing her talk about that she's like her content will be taken down like in a month. Like after she graduates, her content will be taken down. As is normal regulations of being like a contract, like being under a company VTuber, you know? Like once you graduate, your content will inevitably get taken down. That's how that works. Very, very few VTubers under like Nichi-Sanji or Hololive get to keep their content up. Like you basically have to be like Kiria Coco or something to like let your content stick around. I hate that term so much. Do you not like the term graduate? She's graduating next week. Like I don't know. I thought she was like the only Niji streamer that I watched. I'm being fired next week. No, she clarified that this was her decision. It seemed like from her the language during her announcement stream that the job was just really stressful to her and she didn't really want that anymore. That's me reading into it a bit, I guess, based on how she was talking about it. Because she was popular and she was in like good standing with everyone, so she definitely wasn't fired. Technically illegal recordings. I don't know, well, you have the clippers, and you know, that is a like proud section of the VTuber community, is like making the clips and stuff. So we'll all still have that for Nina, right? Well, we'll be able to see her still getting drunk whenever we want, right? And just go back and watch all her streams where she's just having a like just chatting while drinking wine and getting real tipsy for no reason. Those are the streams that I always watched of her. Like I never actually watched her like playing video games or anything. I only ever watched her Zatsudan streams or just chatting. Like, but all right, here There's still some cereal left at this bottom of this bowl, and I don't know. We'll finish it. We'll finish it. But probably not the best idea watching that over dinner. Like, but I'm like, oh, if I don't watch it now, like I'll just keep putting it off. Now there's no one under the Niji umbrella I watch. Like, oh well. Like I always like the fear of God is always put to me whenever like a VTuber I like says like, oh, we're gonna have an announcement stream like tomorrow, and I'm like, oh no. every time it's like, no, you can't just like. Who's the girl that gets called dad? That's Callie. And yeah, like there are so many times where like Callie will be like, oh, I'm announcing a thing next week, and I'm like, this is it. She's going to announce her graduation. Especially Callie, because like it's an open secret, but we do actually know who she is in real life. I won't say who, but like we do know. And she both well, she, like, in her normal identity, she is also a streamer, voice actress, and music artist. So it's like she doesn't need the VTuber job. So Eddie, it's like, oh god, but like as soon as she gets tired of like being a VTuber, she's probably just gone. And I'm like, no, Callie, I actually watch your streams. It's like Callie and Crony are the two Hollow Live EN members that I watch the most. It is what it is. Gotta keep in the zeitgeist of what's happening in the VTuber world, right? That's just, I mean, we do it. Okay, we'll get in there a little bit. Oh, that's loud in my ears. Here, let me adjust my headphone audio real quick. There we go. So she can still go solo and post normal vids and still get an audience. She really could. Because enough people do know who... You know, it's an open secret, right? Like, everyone kind of knows. Okay, here, let me adjust a couple things. I always have to, like, wear my headphones really uncomfortably when I record or read on stream. I have to like offset one half of the headphone so that I can like still hear myself. It's a little uncomfortable, but oh well. Where are we? There we go. We're gonna go after Flynn, right? I look back at Flynn as he winds his way down the trail towards the road. I sigh angrily, starting towards him. Chase, I wouldn't... Someone's gotta talk sense into that idiot. He thinks he can just get away with this shit. You know how he is. I keep walking. He's moving pretty slow, so it's easy to catch up with him. He's got his hands jammed into his pockets as he walks along, his head down. Hey, Flynn! He jerks his head up, and then looks back around at me. He's chewing on a toothpick, which he promptly pulls out of his muzzle. The fuck? The hell? What the fuck do you think you're doing, Chase? Get back. Yeah, right. You think you can just walk away from me after saying shit like that? He stops walking and turns around fully to face me. I step right up in front of him, just a few feet away. He looks me over, and for some reason, I can see a smile threatening to crack his face, as he tries to keep it hidden. Yeah, and what are you gonna do about it? I shrug. Talk? We were having a good time. Why do you have to go and turn everything good to... He suddenly steps up close, thrusting his chest out into me. He hits me around the neck, and I stumble back. Not in the mood! He sticks the toothpick back into his muzzle before he turns and starts walking away again. Go back to the river so you can talk about what an asshole I am. What? I watch him go for a bit. I'm not too worried about Flynn actually beating me up. I'd annoyed him pretty bad before, but he hadn't ever actually hit me, or at least not maliciously. Aww. On top of that, he'd have Leo to answer to if he ever did anything like that, and he knows how that would end up. Still, he did look pretty angry when he stepped towards TJ, more than I'd ever seen him, probably. And now might not be the best time to do this. We'll keep going. Leo would give him a good spanking. Oh my god, Ian. Stop. No. I mean, we do know that Leo was the top in that relationship, right? They mentioned that. Screw him. Once again, he thinks that the act of an asshole can just brush off whatever he doesn't want to talk about. We do? Was it in this route that they talk about it? I was pretty sure it was in this route where Flynn talks about that he and Leo tried it a few times. You know. Well, I'm about to show him exactly why that doesn't work when it's a stubborn otter he's up against. I start following again, doing a little jog to catch up. Oh, wait, here. I should mute my mic real quick while I drag my microphone, but I need to move it to a better spot on my desk. There we go. I think that's better. This time, Flynn hears me and whirls around, pulling the toothpick out of his muzzle again. Your ear's filled with water. I said fuck off! I flinch a little under his yelling, but I square my shoulders and walk up to him, standing my ground. Now I'm only 3 feet away. Or what? You gonna hit me? Really? Go on, try it! I look him in the eye, and immediately I know I have nothing to worry about. This is Flynn, after all, one of my best friends. Whether or not he'd ever admit it, our little group is family, no matter how many stupid fights we get into. He's trying to scare me, though, with the way he's leaning over me, glaring. I just smirk up at him, and pretty soon, I see his facade crack. He slumps down, letting out one massive sigh, deflating like a life-size lizard balloon. Fucking otters. What do you want? I want you to stop being a dick. Flynn looks right back at me and glares, some of the posturing coming back. What? Oh Christ, you heard me! That is not a good thing to say to me right now. Flynn starts leaning over me again, and I lean right back, almost bumping muzzles. That's what it says, not elbows. What am I doing? Yeah, well, everything you said back there was not a good thing to say. I see the corner of one of his eyes twitch. We're so close, I can smell the beer on his breath. I see that smirk tug at his muzzle again. Coming in for a kiss. Okay. Oh, man, you would like that. He presses even closer, and I feel my muzzle flush, and I'm not backing down. I see how it is. You're bored with Leo, and now you want some lizard action. No, I just want an explanation. He raises a brow and leans back a little. Of why you're being such a dick when we're all supposed to be having fun. Actually, I think I know exactly what this is. You're trying to prove me wrong. Well, being an obnoxious twit doesn't suddenly mean you've got a personality. Anyway, they told me to speak my mind. I did. He turns away again and starts walking. I quickly catch up and start walking alongside him. That's not an answer. Besides, even if something's true, it doesn't mean you have to point it out in the middle of everyone's vacation. Flynn keeps walking, opting to glare at the dusty trail. Do you really think I'm just looking to bone all of you? I'm not! I mean... Chase. Chase, I feel like you can say that in, like, any route except for this one. At least nothing really happens in Carl's route, right? If I remember right, yeah. Flynn laughs and, for once, it's not cynical. It's genuine. I think what you're doing right now isn't helping your case, Chase. Ah, see it, Asu. Hello. What? I'm just trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with you, Flynn. Well, my phone buzzes and I pull it out. Are you okay? It's a text from Leo. I mean, I'd feel great if I looked at my phone and got a notification from Leo, right? Right. It's not It's fine. It's fine. Also, I tried fixing some of the chat box again. I don't know why certain parts are cut off. Like, I don't know how the margins work with, like, the coding. I tried. But I hope it's a little better than it was before. I hope you all, this works out a little bit better. Everything is fine. I'm just trying to talk to Flynn. Flynn snorts right in my ear, making me jump. I jerk my phone away and I realize he's been reading over my shoulder. What? Wolfie boy thinks I'm gonna clock you for being annoying. You almost hit TJ. Almost. Well, that means the thought was there. And it's the thought that counts. At this point, we're walking along Lake Emma Road, the trail winding between it and the reservoir itself. There's a little guard rail on the lakeside, and it's rusty, and I seriously doubt that it would stop any car from going onto the lake. Another 10 minutes, and we'll reach the motel. The phone buzzes again, and I get a response from Leo. If he does anything, call me. Flynn sighs again. He stops, and I turn to face him. He looks sad, for once, staring hard at the ground. I just sort of blacked out for a second. I was angry. That's what a murderer says after they kill their exes. I mean, I wouldn't. Jesus Chase. Well, okay. Yeah, I fucked up. Yeah, no shit. It's just something that's been fucking with me ever since it happened. That he's not telling the truth. It's because he's lying to everyone. He knows and is just lying to everyone. Like the little manipulative bitch that he is. Flynn looks up at me sharply. You know he isn't. Flynn's staring at me hard as he's looking for something, and this time I do look away. Well, what if he is? No. You saw him right after it happened. How scared he was. How he couldn't look at any of us. I have no idea what to say. Flynn never talks about this. Before today, the last time I'd heard him mention Sydney was like 6 years ago. It really fucked me up. In that we thought we could just come back to this stupid fucking lake. He kicks his foot across the ground towards the reservoir, some pebbles falling over the steep drop and plopping into the water. It fucked us all up, but Flynn the most of all. Look, Flynn, maybe something did happen. Something he doesn't want to tell us. But it's TJ. You know what kind of person he is. We really don't. We don't know. we don't know about Punish TJ, you know. Then that's what makes this so fucking shitty. But we were kids. He was like 10 years old. We're different people now. Looking behind Flynn, I see Leo's van coming up the road. BDSM Discord Lord Teach. Oh my god. Oh my god. That. Yep, that's TJ. Oh, excuse me. Oh my god. The shadow, the true self, you know. Oh god, I'm choking on cereal bits. Ah. Flynn waits for me to go on, but he sees me looking back and does so himself. As soon as he sees the van, he folds his arms and turns his head back and looks out to the lake. As it pulls alongside us, the window rolls down and I see Jenna in the passenger seat, Leo next to her. Hey, wanna head back? Now we're heading back. Wanna get in? Flynn doesn't say anything, instead choosing to continue staring at the lake. I decide that it's probably a good idea for me to walk with him instead of making him do it alone. Nah, that's alright. We're just talking. What would their personas even be based on? I feel it would have to be like modern children, like tragedy novels or something, you know? You know what I mean? Like, what is there a mythology we can pull from for them? I don't think so. Not really. At least not ones that we haven't already used before, right? We already have the Greek tragedy game. We have 2 of them, in fact. You know? No, that's alright. We're just talking. Leo shifts his gaze to Flynn, studying him before turning back to me. Alright. Text me later, okay? Okay. The window rolls back up, and the van pulls away, kicking up some dust from the roadside as it does. I turn back to Flynn, who's still looking at the lake, chewing slowly on his toothpick. That's when his stomach growls so loudly it almost makes me jump. I snort and Flynn fixes me with a glare. What? I didn't get to eat. Oh, well, that would definitely have to, like, Flynn's persona would probably be more based on that, right? Because he's the one that had to deal with one of his friends dying, you know? If that's the book I'm thinking of. You're like, fuck if I remember. Neither did I, which is your fault. Flynn grunts and keeps walking up the trail towards Echo. The town's windows are rusted signs glinting in the desert haze. I skip up alongside him. Hey, why don't we go to the diner? It's just a few minutes away. Flynn grimaces. I can't eat that shit anymore. What? When's the last time you ate there? A few years ago. Wow. What do you eat then? Gorgonzola salad, of course. Flynn laughs. I go to Peyton, where they actually have a grocery store. Oh, okay. A few moments of silence pass before Flynn speaks up again. I guess it wouldn't hurt to eat there again, for old time's sake. As we walk into the diner, in the diner, my senses are assaulted by nostalgia. Everything looks and smells the same, from the faded, patched stools to the smell of the burgers and fries. Out of habit, I start walking towards the corner booth, the one we always used to sit at. The diner, look. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Look, they're having dinner at the diner, right? I guess this is lunch? Because this is a dinner. This is lunch. This is dinner. That. Where are you going? Huh? I look back at Flynn, who's standing near the counter, looking ready to sit at one of the stools. Oh, come on, Flynn! Those are uncomfortable. Besides, it'd be easier to talk. As some of the patrons are starting to look up from their meals. Flynn looks around, clearly embarrassed, and shoves his hands into his pockets, making his way over to me. Linner sounds like a slur. What do you want to call it then? Dunch? What do we call the dinner and lunch combo? Like, those are our options. It's Linner and Dunch. Fine. I slide into the booth, into my usual spot on the right-hand side. Usually Leo would sit next to me. He's here in spirit. Flynn sits opposite me, leaning back, eyes half open. I could slam some dunge. I can't. I can't. No, wait. Here, I need to open up my YouTube account. We're gonna go to the community page. We're gonna put a poll right now. What do we call the lunch and dinner combo? Wait. Question mark. I'm also going to explain this in parentheses. Like how we call break fast and lunch brunch. Okay. There we go. Linner dunch. Okay. Post. There we go. Poll is up. The ball is in your court, I guess. That is how we're doing this, I guess. No worries, no worries. Tired? Yup. I wait for him to elaborate, but he doesn't go on. Up late? Flynn reaches up and rubs his eyes. Yeah. The long breath he takes in before he says that tells me he's starting to get annoyed, so I drop it. Luckily, that's when Janice, the old diner waitress, comes over to our table. Chase! My goodness, what are you doing here? Hi, Janice. Just doing a school project. Oh, really? I wonder what sort of schooling might be here for you. I'm actually just getting some film of the town. Flynn covers both his eyes with his hands now, as if that's going to make him invisible. And you, Flynn. Can't say I've seen you at all recently. Flynn makes a low grumbling sound, and not taking his hands away. Janice keeps talking, though, unfazed. Well, anything you'd like to drink while you're deciding on your meal? Water. Chase? What are we doing, guys? What are we doing? What are we gonna order? What is... Do we be boring? Do we go for Wawa? Do we get a Coke? A root beer float? Make him a loser, do a Coke? Ian? That's so rude. So that's what I order when I go to a restaurant. Whatever. It's... It's fine. It's fine. And you say litter. Oh my god. I'm gonna order a root beer float. I'm gonna order a root beer float. This is what I like. This is what I want. Can I get a root beer float, please? Sure thing. Flynn does move his hands at this point and looks at me. His expression is odd, like he wants to say something. He looks back and raises an eyebrow. Brows, yes. But he just shuts his muzzle and looks out the window. All right, I'll be right back with you. As Janice moves on on to some other patrons, I look back to Flynn. You were gonna say something? Flynn shakes his head, folding his arms on the table, and hunches forward. No. Somehow his mood is even darker than it was earlier. I sigh, frustrated. It's so damn hard to understand Flynn. His mood swings are absolutely ridiculous. I lean back and uh I lean back and fold my arms, scowling. What? You know exactly what. I'm trying to be friendly here. Flynn shrugs and a bewildered expression on his face. I don't know what to say, Chase. It's been a shitty day. I don't say anything and just look out the window like Flynn. Again, there's a tense silence between us. I just listen to the clatter of silverware from the other two patrons in the diner, along with the old rockabilly music playing out of the crackle of speakers. Finally, Flynn sighs. I decide that's his signature expression, like Carl's shrug. Sorry, I'm just, like I said, it's been a shitty day. It's fine. And that's when Janice brings over our drinks before taking a notepad out to take our orders. All right, what'll you have? A tuna melt, onion rings. Uh-huh, and, you, Chase? So we're not having the tuna melt, because I don't like tuna. Because tuna is worth nothing. So we're not doing that. I don't know about you guys, but I really dislike the texture and taste of deli meat. The sliced deli meat? I hate that texture. I can't do it. It's just... no. So we're going with the cheeseburger. The bacon cheeseburger sounds good. Alrighty. And what do you have on the side? And we're not doing onion rings. The only option is fries here. Fries, please. Flynn stares at me in a weird, squinty sort of way. As if he's trying to say something. Great. I'll have it right over. Sit tight. Angry. And I don't like onion rings. It's just... I don't like onions. I don't like those. I don't like them cooked. I don't like them raw. They have such an unpleasant feel. And the taste is so strong. No. I can't do it. As Janice bustles away, I look to the side, then back to Flynn. What? Flynn keeps squinting, his face incredulous now. Do you really not? He doesn't finish, and instead shakes his head. Never mind. Seriously, you're kind of freaking me out. Flynn chuckles and covers his eyes again, rubbing. Same. What the hell is he even talking about? I'm opening my mouth to ask again, but he cuts me off. Listen, I've got the day off tomorrow. Do you want to do something? I stare at him, at a loss for words. First, he's acting like a complete douche. Then he tells me I'm scaring him. And now he's inviting me to hang out with him. Do you think Chase is scary? I think Chase is just grossly relatable. Don't read into that. Is he what do you call it? Bipolar? I guess. All right, I'll come by sometime afternoon. Maybe with Carl. He doesn't do shit, so he should be free. Okay, I guess I can use a break while from working on a project for a bit. And Dragon, hello. Flynn goes on to tell me that he and Leo often go out to fish on their days off, and that's actually a lot of fun. I mean, that's cute, right? That's just like Leo and Flynn still hang out on occasion. You know? It's cute. It's like that line from the prologue of the game where Flynn mentions how Leo has been down. for like feeling down for the past while, and it's like, oh, well, they see each other a lot, but what do they do? Well, apparently they fucking go fishing, right? I'm still trying to get used to the shift in conversation when Janice shows up with her food. Flynn stares down into his giant greasy sandwich while I take a giant bite out of mine. Fuck, I'm gonna regret this. Why? Tastes great. Well, you're lucky. This kind of food fucks up my stomach. I mean, greasy food fucks up my stomach. I just, you just lay on the couch afterwards and, hug your stomach. And, it'll go away eventually. Do you make your own food? Yup. I snort, and Flynn looks up sharply. Sorry, it's just hard to imagine. Hey, I'm a real good cook. Weak, I mean, so sad. Yeah, I have a weirdly weak stomach. So I do have to watch what I eat, or like how greasy food can be, and how like how spicy things can be. I guess it's less how spicy it is and more acidic, because a lot of spicy food is very acidic, and it's like that hurt. I just no hurt. I guess the expression on my face is showing. I don't buy it because he smirks back at me. Fine. Sometime this week, you're coming over. I'll show you then. I shrug, even though I feel like I've won some kind of secret battle we were having. Deal. Oh, okay. Here's our requisite nightmare sequence for Flynn. Leo's was that you were like sinking, right, in the ocean, as like Leo was out on a boat, if I remember right. Flynn pulls me over rocks and boulders. I stumble along, trying to keep my balance. Flynn's insistent, though, almost angry. We reach the edge of the lake, and he throws me down. I stare at the wet sand, then back up to Flynn. He points and tells me to dig. I start digging. I don't know what I'm looking for, and I ask Flynn, but Flynn doesn't say anything. Water keeps filling the hole. It's hard to keep sand from sliding back in. Finally, I reach in deep, and someone grabs my paw. I stare. I stay like that for a long time. Oh, okay. All right. That one's an understandable one though. That one's it do be a thing. Okay. Will we? Oh, lit. How's it look? Now Carl dangles the lure in front of him, bouncing it around. I don't remember this track. Wait, yes I do now. Okay. I just didn't remember the intro to the track. I forgot this plays here. It's so bouncy. It's like a good time. Flynn squints at it incredulously. I'm pretty sure his muzzle would be hanging open if he didn't have a toothpick in his mouth. Jesus fucking Christ, Carl. What is that? What? Carl has tied the spinner in a giant ugly knot, the string sticking out in every which way. This is why I told you to fucking wait. I guess Carl has gotten impatient and decided to tie his own lure while Flynn helped me with mine. Flynn takes out a knife from his pocket and takes the spinner from Carl, scowling. I'd throw this away if I didn't have so fucking few of them. What's wrong with you, Carl? Carl shoves his paws into his pocket as he watches Flynn struggle with getting the knot fixed. I didn't see what the big deal is. It's attached, isn't it? He looks at me and grins, shrugging his shoulders. I shrug back. You made it so fucking big, it's not gonna spin right. Flynn's muttering angrily under his breath, squeezing his forearms to his chest as he tries to keep his fingers steady. Carl rolls his eyes and looks over at me and grins. Why we gotta fish with these when we got an otter with us? I'm willing. That's not the point. Chase is willing to serve. Flynn almost growls, prodding and poking at the messy knot. It's about relaxing. And how's Chase gonna relax swimming around the whole time? He finally seems to get a handle on the mess and starts tugging out line. And how am I gonna fucking relax with you fucking everything up? The line finally drops away from the spinner. That's what I get for bringing a pothead along. Hey, I'm straight right now. Is that what they call that these days? The Flynn snickers. You sure about that? Carl rolls his eyes again. Ask Chase. I sit on a rock as I slowly reel in my line, watching my spinner glinting under the water. Why are you asking me? You have, what's it called? Gaydar? Isn't the idea that everyone has it? He doesn't respond as Flynn starts showing him how to actually tie the line. Oh. Casting sound. Okay. I come up empty and cast the line out again, glinting in the... listening to the clicking whirl of the reel before the spinner lands with a plop in the middle of the pond. I was wondering where Flynn would go to fish since we wouldn't go to Emma, obviously. It turns out he and Leo found this pond 20 minutes out of town, deep into the wilderness. Where? Why it's spelled that way, though? You know? That's so confusing. That's fine. Deep into the wilderness. Unsurprisingly, no one comes here, which is why Flynn says that the fishing is great. There definitely is something calming about being out in the middle of nowhere, especially with all the ticks around, with the repetitive motion of fishing to keep you occupied. Finally, Flynn finishes showing Carl how to cast, and the ram launches his spinner out, almost all the way to the other side of the pond. Careful, idiot. If you get it snagged at the other end, I'll whoop your ass. Lay off, Flynn. Carl reels in fast, then casts out again, making a pew sound as he does. Flynn says, sighs before walking up next to me, watching as I reel in much slower. I feel a little self-conscious with the way he stands over me, worried I'm going to say something wrong. Sure enough, he steps forward, his chest up against my back as he grips the pole. Grab it above the reel post. Here. He holds the rod, then grabs my paw and slides it up the pole. That way you can really grip it when you catch something. He's right up against my back. Arms are wrapped around me. I swallow and try to focus on the pole. What pole? All right. I hear him give a low chuckle in his throat as I glare. Of course he knows what he's doing right now. With my paws and the pole, he's probably rubbing in what he said yesterday. I decide to respond by sliding my tail up the middle of his legs, and I feel him shift against me. His chuckle turning into a gulp of surprise. What the hell are you guys doing? Flynn lets go of the pole and steps back as Carl watches us, his face screwed up in exaggerated disgust. Showing him how to fish. Now it's your turn, fatty. Carl pauses, on his reeling. It's not like we, haven't done this before. Plus, I don't know if I want to feel your, cloaca on my ass. Too bad. I focus back on fishing, still feeling a little warm from the close encounter I've had with Flynn. I'm a little angry that he'd try that, especially so soon after what had happened. I try to focus back on how relaxing the motions are, sweeping the lake clockwise as I cast out again and again. If I really did want to catch a fish, though, I would be swimming in the water right now. It isn't hard to do. I've done it several times when I was younger in the reservoir. Of course, that's less relaxing, since you have to actively search for the fish, rather than just sit placidly until one bites the lure. I've never killed one before, though. Careful, Carl! I wince and look at the side, seeing Flynn covering his head and ducking as Carl's lure bounces and swings around above him. You didn't let go of the fucking button! Carl shrugs and starts to swing his pole around, trying to unwrap the line of his pole. Well, if you weren't right up against my tail, you wouldn't have to worry about that. I'm trying to show you. Kapew! Carl. Carl launches his lure over the pond so that it almost lands on the opposite bank. It doesn't, however. Wrap tightly around a branch. Yeah, it does, however, wrap tightly around a branch, sticking up from a fallen log in the shallows. Unfucking believable. Oh, shit. He starts tugging and pulling, trying to get it untangled from the log. Wow. Vowels are hard, guys. No, stop. You're gonna have to walk around the edge and get it. What? There's fucking cacti on the edge. No way in hell. Too bad. That's my last fucking lure. What? Come on. I mean, Carl can buy you a new one, right? Carl's shoulders slump as he looks out across the pond. I sigh and set down my pole and start stripping my shirt off, followed by my pants. After a pause, I decide to take off my boxers too. It's not like Jenna's here. It takes me a while to stop arguing. It takes them a while to stop arguing now about the plural of form of cactus and realize that I'm now nude. Chase! I'll get the damn lure. Just stop arguing. Huh. Just wanted an excuse to give us a little striptease, huh? Shut up! We've all seen each other naked. I do try to angle my hips away so they can't see my balls and cock, which is hard to do considering I've got a pretty steep bank to wobble over. I manage it though, and pretty soon I'm sludging through thick mud. Careful, I don't know what the fuck's in there. Didn't you say no one comes here? I don't get his response because I dive in right after that. The familiar feeling of water closing up around me, cutting off air and sound. Again, it's a huge relief to be back in the water, and I drift towards the bottom. It's not deep at all, and the water here has a slimy feel that I don't like. Still, it's better than nothing, and I undulate slowly across the pond. It doesn't take long to reach the log, as it's only about 30 feet away. I have to bob a few times to the surface to look around, though, since the water's too murky to see through. I'm actually kind of starting to regret doing this. I try to remember if I have any cuts or sores I'm gonna have to douse in peroxide later. That's when one of my paws bumps the log and I bob up to the surface, wiping a paw across my eyes. I see the line glinting above me, and some drops of pond water cling to it. I reach up and grasp it between my index finger and thumb and follow it to the branch. I feel Carl give it a few tugs. Hey, Chase! Flynn says there's leeches in the pond! I hear a loud smack followed by a yelp. Don't fucking yank it around. You want to snag his eyeball. I ignore them as I search for the lure. I continue to follow the line until I lean over the log and spot the spinner. Shimmering in the sunlight, the hook wedged into the soft, wet wood. It comes out easily, and I carefully lift it, making sure I'm out of the way of the hook in case Carl decides to yank the line again. When when I turn around, I'm glad to see that Flynn's got the pole now. I hold up the lure and show him, and make a show to show him and let it drop back into the water. Flynn slowly starts to reel it back in. I go back in, slowly swimming back to the opposite bank. It's at this point that I see a silver flash in the right of my field of vision. I look over and see a fish, swimming lazily over some plant life at the bottom of the pond. I pause, and would have smiled if my mouth wasn't going to fill with pond water. It would be funny, after all this time, with the lures and their poles, for me to just pop out of the water, fish in paw. I swim over to it slowly, lingering to the side so I won't block the sun before diving down and snatching it up. I latch my paws and, yeah, I latch in my paws, yes, to keep it from escaping, as I give a little wiggle of delight. It's been a long time since I've done this, but it looks like I've still got it. I turn and start swimming back to Flynn and Carl, and that's when I suddenly feel like I'm being watched. It's not the typical feeling, though. This is much more intense. I pause and look back over my shoulder, then tore forward again. It's pointless because everything is cloudy. I can't see more than 10 feet. I've sunk down to the bottom of the pond, both of my feet resting in the deep murk as I crouch, trying to figure out where the feeling is coming from. It doesn't help that my head is starting to buzz, a tone building in my head that sounds like an orchestra tuning. I haven't been down that long. I shouldn't be running out of air. Of course I should just swim up to the surface where it's bright and safe, but I don't, because this feels too familiar. I think back to when I was 12, playing in the abandoned school with Carl. I was hiding from him in the second floor classroom when I felt this exact feeling. Intense, almost physical, like a hand was grabbing into the back of my neck. I look around again, then finally look down at the fish in my paws, and now I know where it's coming from. Before I know it, I'm whipped upwards, breaking through the surface in less than a second, and swimming towards my friends. I stumble up onto the bank, splashing water everywhere as I do. I'm not holding the fish anymore. What the fuck were you doing? I try to steady my breathing, hoping they'll just think it's because I was down so long, rather than me being freaked the fuck out. Carl laughs. Carl's laughing next to Flynn as I start pressing my paws against my body, trying to speed up the drying process. What? Carl shrugs and Flynn smacks him upside the head. He pissed in the water while you were under. Great. Honestly, I don't really care right now. I wouldn't worry about it. You didn't come up near it, and there's probably worse in there anyway. Speaking of which, why don't you go further up the stream and wash up? I don't want you bringing pond shit into my truck. Okay. I sigh and pick up my clothes, just glad that they seemingly haven't noticed anything's off. Luckily for me, Flynn parked right next to the stream, so it's easy to find. It's freezing cold, though, compared to the pond, so I get washed up quickly. I always get a little confused by that sequence. Like Chase's narration saying, like, Oh, it's a good thing they didn't realize anything was off. Like, I don't know. I always find the Flynn's route the hardest to parse with that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Especially with Chase's narrations. It's freezing cold, though, compared to the ponds, so I get washed up quickly. I gasp as I splash the water over my body, shivering before I stand back and start squeezing the water out of my fur again. Everything okay? They just mean his freaked out demeanor? I mean, like, it could, but you know, it's the Flynn route. And so it's always harder to, like, I don't know, I feel like I think too hard about Chase's narration, specifically in this route. Because especially, like, with the water sequence, where he's like, huh, yeah, it's that, again. Like, that's like, oh, okay. Flynn's leaning against his truck, arms folded, watching me. I blush. It was easier to be naked in front of two of them, but for some reason, it just being Flynn makes me way more embarrassed. I turn back around, pressing my tail harder against my ass, as I wave my arms around, trying to dry off. Yeah, come for a show? Yeah, always wanted to see the naked otter mimicking a bird. Shut up! I'm trying to dry off! Flynn doesn't say anything, so I just turn around, and not even bothering to cover up, pause on my hips. Okay, seriously, you just come to see me naked? He hasn't moved at all, but he cracks a smile. Maybe. I don't let that trip me up, and instead thrust my hips out, legs spread. Well, there you go. I got a towel in my truck. He's still smiling, and his eyes definitely aren't on mine. Flynn has flirted with me before, even while I was dating Leo. I vaguely remember there being some altercations between the two. I make my way towards the truck again, trying to angle my hips away from him. You really know how to creep a guy out. I lift up the handle to the but the door doesn't open. Hey, unlock the something shoves hard into the small of my back, and I am thrown forward to land with a wet splat against the hot metal of Flynn's truck. What the hell? Something tall, skinny, and muscular presses up against my back. Chills run down my spine as Flynn's muzzle snuffles into my ear. A low growling in his voice. You really think you can just tease me like that and get away with it? His paws slide around my body, between the car and my stomach before moving up to my chest. I'm frozen that way. Pause against the passenger window as I stare in shock. Excuse me. Through it. Yeah, through it at the truck steering wheel, though I'm not really seeing it. There's a pause, and I think it's because he's waiting for me to respond, to see if I'd tell him to stop or not. I don't, though, and I lean my head back into my neck. I'm feeling my entire body break out into goosebumps as he rubs my chest. You like that, don't you? I respond with a gasp as his sharp teeth graze across one of my stubby ears, his hot breath sending another wave of chills over my skin. His hand slides back down, slowly, feeling out my body. Acting like a little slut. You didn't think this was gonna happen. I stiffen a little under the remark, and I lift my tail up between his legs. You're one to fucking talk. I'm not completely sure about what's going on, if this is a spur of the moment thing, or if he's just trying to prove a point. What I do know is that we both want it. Aggressive as Flynn can be, I know he's got a soft side. On top of that, he's caught me off guard, and that's annoying. For the moment, Flynn pauses again, as if he's distracted by something, but I don't give him time to tell me what it is. Using my tail, it coils to his thigh, and I drag the reptile around, ending his spin with his back thumping into his his trunk. My paws slip into the open shirt, pinning either side of the button up to his arms. He grunts, a smirk on his muzzle as he leers at me. Well, well, there's the spicy otter I used to know. Forgot how damn strong otter tails can be. A grin of my own works across my muzzle. And I forgot how soft scales can be. I bring my snout to his stomach and firmly nuzzle into the patch of orange scales there. Flynn's abs flex for a moment, but then relaxes as I work my broad nose in. His skin is a little coarse, but underneath it is soft and warm. It had always been Flynn's soft spot. And not just physically, it's also a really sensitive spot for him. I found this out years ago when I first tickled him. And it's evident in the little lizard moan that slips out of his muzzle. Cheap move, Chase. Fucking otters and their wet, cold noses. Yeah, and you love it, Flynn. I'm not exactly sure what's gotten into me. It's like I'm a teenager again with the way I'm acting. I can see Flynn's surprise too, but he doesn't say anything. At this point, his button-up has slipped over his shoulders, revealing more of his lithally. How is this word pronounced again? Lithely form. His dark scales and orange scales both glisten in the desert sun. Flynn's biceps flex as he struggles with my hold. Lithely. Why is that so hard? Why is this so hard? Which must have been an act because he sure as hell couldn't have broken the pin if he tried. His playful struggle only gets me more excited. Good job, right? Oh my god. Ian, please understand. My sheath is filling rapidly now, and I can see his pants are fully tented. He sighs breathlessly and relents as I keep my hold firm, continuing to tease his belly. It's like a leather pillow, you know? Supple. Flynn's face flushes as I bring my paw to his waist, pressing him to his chuck, caressing his torso. My paws glide over his chest before sliding down his sides, then around his waist to grope. Fuck! You know, I didn't let anybody touch me like this. I seriously doubt that. A little shiver runs through the lizard. Then he leans in, free from his grasp, nibbling breathlessly into my ear and I shiver a bit in return. Flynn slouches down for better leverage, his paws wrapping for the small of my back. I take advantage of him being at my height level and glide my wet tongue across the slick scales of his neck. His whole body gives a weird little jump, his hands snapping up to grab my arms, almost painfully, but he doesn't push me away. I give a little grunt of annoyance, and he shrugs off his hands, bringing my own paws back up to his front. Dragging my blunt claws along his stomach, I trail them to around his back, screeching into his claws. I'm sorry, what did that say? Yeah, scales, not claws. What am I doing? To his scales. Flynn rasps, letting out another reptilian moan. I can't help but giggle, pressing my body into the euphoric lizard. He tilts his head, eyes half-lidded, and maw agape, his tongue flicking at the air. For a moment I realize, expectantly, exactly what I'm doing. Making out with my best friend, strange as it seems, it's sexy as hell. A few years ago, there was no way I'd be okay with this. I guess time apart, along with being pent up for a few days, it sure spurs me on. I'm nearly fully out of my breath, my sheath at this point. My cock pressing into his very tented pants crotch. He pulls me in, and I undulate against him, grinding into his crouch with my own. Riding out the lizard spasm, I smooth my paw pads down his back, dripping below his pants belt line under his boxer briefs. Again, I grab two pawfuls of the gilla, clasping Flynn's butt on either side of his shorts, a fat tail. God damn it, Chase! Had I known you still. I grope the lizard, cutting him off. Sorry, like like that face you made. Go on. Would have made a move sooner, is all. I slide my paws around his waist, towards the front, and brush up against something very hot and solid. I grin, feeling mischievous. Rubbing my paw around Flynn's rock-solid member, I give a brisk, smooth pump. He moans, practically melting over me now. His muzzle, his muzzle in the crook of my neck, and I think I feel him. Drooping down my back, drooling down my back. Okay, shit. You must have been a handful for Wolfie Boy. He's not the type to easily submit. Flynn's right. Leo was a stubborn boyfriend, in and out of the bedroom. With a lot of coaxing, I could eventually get him to see things my way, but that hardly ever happened. So he topped a couple times. Chase can say that he's topped. Can Dave say that? Why are so many of these protagonists like bottoms? Why is it like that? Why's it gotta be this way? I had a lot more energy as a teenager, more zest, I guess. It's hard to explain, but over the years, I've just become more, well, exactly what Flynn's accusing me of being. Personally, I just chalk it up to growing up. But right now, I do feel a sort of feel like my old self, and that's kind of incredible. Hey, I'm a versatile otter. I like to trade off. I grin as Flynn guides my paws into his briefs, returning a smirk. I'm about to pull my paws out of Flynn's grasp when he steps back. He lets go of my wrists, his expression on his face strange again. He's looking for something. I'm confused, still sort of slack-jawed as I stare back at him. What? Slowly, his expression becomes more resolute, almost dark as he steps back further away from me, folding his arms. Nothing. Just realized that Carl could see us. We shouldn't have done this here. Huh? He's acting like I started this. I'm feeling self-conscious now that he's clearly not interested in continuing. I turn away slightly, one paw against the car as I angle my body so he can't see my dick anymore. I look back over my shoulder at him, feeling myself getting angrier. Hey, you're the one! He's already turned around and heading back towards the pond. I watch him go, feeling bewildered and maybe even a little hurt. Asshole. I mutter it under my breath. Did he stop because he decided I wasn't up to his standards? The idea hurts even more because I imagine those are pretty low. Damn! Yo! Cirrus, you'll find out. You'll find out, Cirrus. When we get to the latter half of the week, you know, we get explanations. We want to fuck the boyos. Yeah, it is. I stand there for a while longer, feeling like a complete idiot before finally heading back to the stream. Wait, serious? Have you not seen Flynn's Route to its completion? I'm curious. Like, I don't know. I think Flynn's Route's kind of it's almost weird to go like, oh, it's easily just the best one. It's easily just the best one. Says the Silent Hill 2 fan, you know. It is what it is. It do be. I watched your playthrough. Then you should know what the why he gets that way with choices. It's they explain it. I've picked up all kinds of shit from smearing my body against his dirty truck. I'll be sure not to let him take advantage of me so easily again. You say that. We're headed back from down Elizabeth Street after dropping Carl off. The drive only a little awkward. Flynn's really good at acting like nothing's wrong when he wants to, and I'm totally fine with that right now. That's when I see a set of familiar ears through the window of the convenience store. Hey, is that TJ? Flynn ducks his head to look out the window. Looks like it. I flip he flips a U-turn, which isn't a big deal since no one's on the road, but pulls into the parking lot. What are you doing? Stopping by to say hi. Oh, okay. I guess I need to buy some stuff. I look out the window so Flynn can't see the look on my face. I already know that this is a bad idea. TJ's at the register, and his ears flick in our direction before he turns to see us. At first he smiles when he sees me, but then his ears fall flat as he sees Flynn coming behind us. Jenna pokes her head from behind TJ, and now I know this is a really bad idea. They're both a little dirty, and TJ has his backpack on. I wave at them to let them know I've seen them before moving towards the back of the store. I need to get some bottled water since I don't really like drinking from the faucet in the motel. I hear Flynn say something as he walks up to them, and I silently hope that by the time I get back, everything will magically resolve. Because the old corner market closed, this is the only place where you can buy food aside from the diner. That sucks. Right? Like what you have the diner and then you have a convenience store without a grocery section. So what? It's just a bunch of prepackaged shit. Like fuck. That sucks. Even like even the bumfuck nowhere towns I've been in like Minnesota, at least have like a small grocery store or something. They will have a grocery store, a restaurant, a bar, and a barber shop. And of course a post office. But like that's just... I remember going to a town and it was just that. They had their main street was like a block, and that's all they had. That was the town. It was one block, and then it was like surrounded by like residential zones. But like the actual like main like town area was just that main street block. Like shit was so fun to like walk around because it's like this is it. Oh my god, there's no signal. Like a pull-out phone, no signal. Like, oh man, we've actually teleported back to like the 50s or even prior to that. It's so neat. I always loved visiting my grandparents because of that, because it's just like it just you're in a new area. Driving through Illinois. That's so neat though. Like one of the hustling and bustling towns near where my grandparents lived had a mall with only 4 like store slots in it, but only 2 of them were filled. Like, shit was so neat. It was like, what is this indoor mall with only 4 like stalls? What? You go downtown, like you go to Main Street, it's 2 blocks, and they just got like a couple little like knickknack stores and like a shitty Chinese restaurant. It's just like, wow, this is neat. Like, it's so neat. Most of that town is a factory. Like, you have this 2-block little like Main Street area, and then like the big ass factory next to it, and that's the town. It's so cool. And then that weird little mall. That's the only way to, aside from the, yes, I did read that. Looking at the selection, I can see why Flynn takes the 30-minute drive to Peyton to get his food. I grab a few water bottles and head back to the front. My hopes of a resolution are dashed as I see the awkward situation unfolding in front of me. TJ standing, on the other side of Jenna now, keeping her eyes on Flynn. Between him and Flynn, yes. No one's saying anything as I get to the register, the air tense and TJ fidgeting with his facial fur. As I pull out my wallet, I look over at Jenna. Hey, how was your hike? Fine. Hot. A red fox I don't recognize takes $2 takes the $2 I handed him. I feel Flynn shift around next to me, then I hear him take in a deep breath. Hey, Tej, did you, Hey, Flynn, did you forget what happened yesterday? I cringe. Jenna's tone is sharp, and now I just wish I could turn invisible. Uh-huh. Can't you tell? He doesn't want to talk to you. Flynn doesn't say anything. The tension is so thick in the air, I feel like I'm back in the slimy pond. The cashier fox pauses and hands me my change, staring back at Flynn and Jenna. Thanks? I almost yell as I reach out for the money, as if the volume of my voice will make everyone forget and provide Flynn with the opportunity to escape. It doesn't work. We're not kids anymore, Flynn. You can't just treat us like crap and expect us to act like it's okay when you decide we're worth talking to again. Flynn hunches forward, staring off to the side, towards the back of the store. TJ suddenly heads for the door, and I can see his face twitching as he passes me. Jenna follows him, past Flynn, before turning around as she reaches the door. If you want to talk to us again, then you're going to have to act like an adult and apologize. Otherwise, later. As she exits, leaving us in the most awkward, painful silence I've ever heard in my life. The clerk openly stares at Flynn. I fumble with the change and my wallet, trying to pretend like nothing happened. Do you wanna... Flynn turns and walks out the door. I watch him get to his truck, then pulls out, his face expressionless. For a while, I stare at the empty parking space. I slowly shove my wallet into my pocket. Oh, right, he just leaves without us, right? I forgot about that. The clerk, without anyone else to stare at, is now staring at me. Annoyed, I look right back at him. What? He stares back at me, expression vacant. Huh? He's young, but the patchy fur and missing teeth, and the look in his eyes tell me everything I need to know. I suddenly realize where I am, and where I came from, and this alone squashes all good feelings I had left of the day. The fox in front of me practically embodied all the problems with this small town. I feel such a bizarre, intense wave of hatred for him that I have to leave the store. Pressing the 2 water bottles against my chest with one arm, I shove my free paw into my pocket, stare at the ground as I walk back to the hotel. Ian. Ian, please. It's not that bad. Darian's so close to getting choked out every time you're around him. That's not true. Only like half the time. You know, it be that way, you know. Wow, the motel. We didn't get to see the motel that much in Leo's route, do we? I always kind of forget about that. That, like, what, you spend, like, one night at the motel, and then you're suddenly just with Leo the entire time. Yo, same, though. I'm so sick of him thinking that he can do whatever he wants without any sort of consequences. Jenna rustles around in a drawer before using her hip to close it with a snap, as she turns to me. I'll apologize to him once he apologizes for ruining the trip. I open my mouth, then close it again. Of course, asking Jenna to make up with Flynn is a lost cause. It's like asking Carl to take off his beanie. Sitting on the bed, I glance at the bathroom door for the faint sounds of TJ's shower coming from within. I hear Jenna sigh before the bed wobbles as she takes a seat next to me. I'd probably feel bad if he hadn't fucked everything up already. I rub the back of my neck with a hand, trying to think of something I can say to convince her. It's just that Flynn is always like that. He doesn't mean anything bad. Yeah, well, I'm sick of having to deal with it. He needs to learn how not to talk like an asshole. This is one of the reasons why Flynn never fucks with Jenna, or really says anything to her at all. She's kind of exempt from the whole unspoken pact we made to let Flynn's dickishness slide. Even sensitive TJ accepts it and takes the playful ribbing well enough. I hear the shower shut off, followed by the high-powered whoosh of the hotel's cheap dryer. Oh my god, girl, you always escalate everything. What do you mean, Cirrus? This is just Jenna. This is her baseline. What do you mean? Like, being a lynx, TJ probably had to stand in that thing for a good 10 minutes before he was even damp. We're adults now. If he wants to get anywhere in life, he needs to shape up. He's getting along all right. Jenna snorts. Yeah, if he's planning on staying here for the rest of his life. I mean, what's wrong with that? Chase. You don't mean that. Like, come on, Chase. You spent the entirety of Leo's route going, oh, I just don't want to be an Echo anymore. Like, I'd ride this dick every hour on the hour if you just weren't living in Echo. Like... Random teenage guy at the store. It really true, though. It really true. Chase-u is something else. I can tell Jenna's giving me a look, but I don't give her the satisfaction of turning my head to see it. Seriously, Anyway, it's clearly a defensive mechanism. He feels vulnerable without his "I'm an asshole" blanket. I mean, you're not a psychiatrist yet, Jenna. I'm not going to be a psychiatrist, but you don't need a psych degree to see it. I don't respond, and not seeing the point in arguing about Flynn any further. Jenna stretches, then gets up to go over to her laptop on the small table while I lay back on my bed, closing my eyes. Absent-mindedly, I pulled out my phone, discovering a text from Leo! Oh my god.
I forgot to tell you that. We're having a surprise party for Carl tomorrow.
I frown and type out a quick response. You're telling us this now? It's not until next month. What's up? Jenna looks up from her laptop at the expression on my face. Leo says we're having a surprise party for Carl tomorrow. Oh yeah. You knew? Yeah, well, Leo told us on the drive back from the river. My phone buzzed again.
Sorry, but we're going to the store tomorrow to get some presents, so don't worry about it.
I frown. This is kind of weird. A whole month early? I don't know. I've done that before. Ah. There was like I remember there was a year that like my dad was going to be gone for like 2 months. So we just like celebrated like mine and his birthday like before he left. So it's whatever. He's like, oh, I'm not gonna see you for 2 months, like whatever. And our birthdays are like in that time, so sure, why not? Why not? And Jenna shrugs and looks back down at her laptop. Something to do, I guess. I guess. I type another response to Leo again. I have a lot to do tomorrow. I was planning to get some footage in the morning. Leo's always been weird. Do you follow any of his accounts? He's always posting pics of his food and stuff. That's normal with normal Jenna. People post pictures of their food all the time. Have you seen Kojima's Twitter? Like... My phone buzzes again.
I guess I can get the present for you, but you're definitely going to the party, and then we're gonna go out and see a movie.
Death to Koji? I mean... I don't like him. Wait, let me rephrase that. Well, I don't like his work. Let him strand. Okay. Okay. So what, next week we're gonna start Death Stranding Director's Edition, right? Director's Cut? Is that what it was called? How much is that game? How much is that currently? What are we doing? Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Death Stranding Director's Cut. How much is this? Shopping. Yeah, let's go. It's $30 on Amazon. It's $25 used at GameStop. We're not getting it. That's too much money. It's too much money. If it was like $10, that's worth one stream. That's worth one stream. It definitely is. Getting paid to do it isn't worth it.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, it could be fun. I think it would be miserable to play the whole game, but I think it would be fun to do it for like one stream. You know, to do the laughing at the thing for once, like just for like a 3-hour stream and then never look at it again, you know? Yeah. I think that'd be fun. Not for that price though. I suppose that doesn't sound too bad as long as I'm able to get at least something done for the project. Something is still bothering me about the whole get-together, though. I can go to the party, but I might need to stay and do more project stuff. What about Flynn? I send that one with some hesitation, feeling like me and Leo are conspiring behind Flynn's back. Then I remember what I did behind Leo's back with Flynn, and my toe curls reflexively in a cringe. No, excuse me. It's all like 95% cutscene and like, wait, would be all cutscenes, 75% of the game is walking. That's, well, you know, then it'll be the Final Fantasy 16 streams, right? Yeah. Yeah, technically, it's none of Leo's business what I do, but it doesn't change the feeling of wrongness I have about it. I toy with the idea of texting Flynn as well, but knowing him, he probably wouldn't respond right now. I'm sorry. To you, at least. I look up from my phone at Jenna, who's clacking busily on her laptop. For what? Her typing pauses. Because pissing Flynn off like that is just going to make this an even shittier vacation. I sigh and look back down at my phone, waiting for Leo's response. Well, I don't know. I guess he needs to hear it from someone. My phone buzzes again. I talked to him. Well, with him, it's fine. I'm about to say something else to Jenna, but I can hear TJ starting to open the door, so I just shut my mouth and close my eyes again. Party. 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 Yes. Wednesday. I actually end up sleeping in the next day. Why not sleep in every day, you know? Leo tries to coax me to go along, but I mumble something about needing to finish my project. The next thing I know, it's an hour later and the motel room is empty. I chastise myself for the late start. I'm getting and roll out of bed, skipping a shower and instead gathering up all of my equipment. I decide to head to the old school, mostly out of convenience, semicolon. It's less than a mile up Main Street. Ah, this place. This place is pretty cool. I think it was before I stopped playing the smoke room, like these scenes in Murdoch's route were my favorite. Like whenever you got to hang out at the school, you know, because I love the photography day segment, right? Where you go photography day, go do work, do things. You meet that's like the first time you see Jim, right? Where you get like introduced to Jim. Best boy, did nothing wrong. And it's pretty good. It's broken down and vandalized to hell, which looks great through the camera. Actually, one of my favorite tracks that only got used once in the game when I was playing it. It only was in one scene, but it's the track titled Observatory, which is aggressively this is a royalty-free song, right? Which is why I don't use it. It's not on the stream playlist, is because it gets flagged. But Observatory is just like real quaint. I like that track a lot. Though it like doesn't fit the game. I think that's like part of the reason. Like, I don't like the royalty free tracks for the most part because like they don't sound that great next to other tracks. You know, there isn't as like good of a through line. Is what it is though. I think that's why like I like Arches the most, because like all the music is like concise and all like fits together. I do kind of think like Smoke Room and like parts of Echo, their soundtrack, because it's like mix and matched. You have a lot of like these royalty free tracks and like some composed tracks for the game, and they don't always like sound great back to back in scenes. The original Echo School was built back in the early 1900s, but it was torn down and rebuilt in the 50s. That's the building that I'm looking at now. Apparently all grades were combined into this one building, which was sectioned off by 3 floors. Echo Elementary, Echo Junior High, and Echo High. After the 80s, there was too many students to keep it functional, and they started busing everyone to Peyton instead, closing Echo School down. But I think it has the strongest OST for a fully free soundtrack. It does. That one actually like works pretty well between like its license. Between, like I say, licensed, it's like royalty free tracks and like the couple tracks by was it all like fully royalty free tracks, or did like because Anthemix didn't join on until Cameo, right? But yeah, I'm surprised how well like Adastra works. Very, very surprised at that one. It's a 2-story brick building with a basement of about 30 rooms inside. I remember my parents saying that after it closed down, it was a rite of passage to sneak into the school at night and graffiti up the walls. Basically everyone drew a pentagram. I set the camera up to get a few shots of the outside of the school, making sure to emphasize the graffiti on the front and avoid the white soccer goal. We'll just move it. Apparently Echo was still putting the field to use. The windows are foggy, and though there are dozens of squares of glasses missing, it's pitch black inside. I calculate in my mind how long I'd been speaking over this portion of the footage, realizing that it probably wouldn't be longer than 10 or 15 seconds. I feel a little flare of annoyance at the thought of how much I'm putting into this and how little I'm getting out. I wonder if this is really the kind of thing I want to do, not for the first time. After about half an hour of trying different angles, I finally straighten up, wiping my forehead. The sun is up to the point of warming the spot of my head, and I know that within a half hour, I'll be burning up. I start packing up my camera when I feel a different sensation at the top of my head. A slight pressure and a prickle? Not a pickle, a prickle. The feeling that I'm being watched. I look back at the school building. It's quiet, broken, and stoic, like it has been for the past few decades. Still, my eyes are drawn to the second floor, specifically to the window of the far right. I stare hard at it, narrowing my eyes. Behind the glass in the dark room, something curves out of the right side of the window. It's a lighter color, and it stands out in stark contrast against the black of the rest of the windows. It could be anything, really, but as I stare at it, I get the vibe from it that I do from Carl's horns. I stare at it, waiting to see if it moves, morbidly imagining a face peering around the corner at any moment. Picturing Carl suddenly jumping out to stare at me from the window is kind of funny. But also creepy because I can't imagine what he'd be doing up there. The hairs at the back of my neck stand up and I look around, kind of hoping that someone might be nearby. It's deserted, of course, my only company being the sun-baked road and the dry sagebush full of ticks. I turn my attention back to the spot next to the window, half expecting the maybe a horn to be gone. It's still there, though, not having shifted at all from when I first spotted it. I shift the straps of my camera bag onto my shoulder and stand up straight before moving a little closer to the building, next to the door for a better look. Maybe. Maybe it's the handle to something. Maybe it's the handle of an old watering can. Maybe for a class project forgotten long ago. Maybe. I shrug off the feeling and turn to leave. Ah, oh, it's so good. Oh, man, I love this route. This route's so good. Ah. Do we hit the? I think we hit the. Okay. Actually, wait a minute. Let me check something real quick. I don't understand. What do you mean Linner sounds like a slur? What? This is fine. So Dunch has more votes currently. I see how it is. I see how it is, guys. Okay. Luckily we got this and not TJ. I mean, it is what it is. Something itches in the back of my brain. I look back at the door and can tell right away that there isn't anything holding it shut, at least not on the outside. Maybe I could get a few shots of what's in there. I walk slowly up to the door, a thin piece of plywood, definitely not what was originally what was here originally. A small tin, no trespassing sign hangs from it, almost completely rusted through. I give the door a tentative push, and it instantly gives way, sliding noisily across the concrete ground. Yeah. Inside, there's a staircase right in front of me. To the left and right there are wide, darkened hallways. I'm just crossing over the threshold when I realize what I'm doing. Even if I get some good footage, I would have been. Wow. Give me a moment. Okay. Even if I get some good footage, it would have been from breaking into a place illegally. I'd basically be filming a crime for a school project. The floor creaks above my head, and I realize just how stupid this is. I turn back around, making sure to shut the rickety door behind me fully before I start backing towards the road. It was a dumb idea, sure, and I would have come up with a lot of stupid ideas, but for some reason I can't shake the feeling that had been especially weird. I'm at the end of the road when I remember the horn on the window. I don't turn around. What, you don't want to see James? Like, you don't want to double check? Don't want to see if Jamesy boy is still there? Oh well, coward. How do you even know that he's here? Jenna eyes Leo as we make our way up the walk to Carl's house. As I'm looking at the mansion, I think of how you imagine a lot of things being bigger when you're younger. Not Carl's house. I always forget how big it is when I see it again. Even kids from Peyton wanted to hang out with Carl because of it. Ugh, Carl is here like 95% of the time. Besides, how would he get around without his parents? Jenna doesn't say anything as TJ bounds up to the door and rings the doorbell while balancing a cake against his chest. Everything is so old-fashioned here. And TJ seems to have cheered up since the incident a few days ago. At least that's what he's been putting out so far. Sometimes it's hard to tell with TJ. We wait a while, but there's no answer. Jenna looks pointedly at Leo, who pointedly ignores her.
Yeah, he's probably asleep.
And how do we wake him up? I want to ask where Flynn's at, but even motioning, not motioning, mentioning, I can't. Wow. I'm doing a great job tonight, guys. I'm doing a great job. Even mentioning his name around TJ seems risky. Leo's looking at the window to the right of the door, about 10 feet off the ground.
If I boost you up, you'll be able to reach.
Are you kidding me? I shift the bag of presents I'm holding, glancing down at the red tissue paper on top. So, what did I get Carl? Leo doesn't seem to notice me, continuing to frown at Jenna.
How else are we gonna... wake him up?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe by sending him a text in advance to have him meet up somewhere, rather than just going to his house completely unannounced. Leo huffs, and I can see his face getting red under his fur. Jenna has a fair point, but I still felt bad for the wolf. I mean, he usually is here, isn't he? Let's not fight, guys. It's supposed to be a party. TJ's genuinely disappointed voice seems to put a pause on the tense mood, and Jenna sighs before looking up the window. I guess I could try.
Great.
Leo hops down off the deck. Okay, but at that moment, a big, rusty truck pulls into the driveway of Carl's house. It's Flynn, and next to him, in the passenger seat, is an unconscious-looking ram. That's a little sketch. Like, wouldn't that be a little sketch? I think that would.
The hell?
Flynn parks before slowly and quietly opening the door.
Flynn, what the hell are you doing?
Leo whisper yells at it as he walks up to the truck, glancing over at Carl, who's leaning back to in the seat, with his mouth hanging open. Even from here, I can hear him snoring.
Hey, Wolf, if you still want to be a surprise, you'll shut up. What the hell are you doing?
Leo rolls his eyes. Not Leo. Flynn rolls his eyes.
We went to the reservation. What? Why? Because it's something we do sometimes. I texted you that we were gonna surprise him. Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Flynn rubs the back of his scaly head.
Just a little late again is all. Started winning more than I usually do, so Carl and I stuck around for a little while longer.
You were gambling? Of course. Because that's all the reservation is good for, huh?
Whoa!
Flynn holds up his hands defensively.
What's with all of you?
Flynn's eyes settle on me, and for some reason I feel my heart giving a jump.
Chase! What the hell crawled up everyone's asses?
I feel like the answer should be obvious, but if Flynn's trying to get some things at least somewhat close to normalcy, then I'm fully behind him. You know how Leo is. His way or the highway. Leo shoots a glare at me, but I grin at him, trying to lighten the jab. I sense TJ further behind me, separate from our group. I really wish I knew what he's thinking right now. Leo lets out a tiny growl before turning back to Flynn.
Oh, I feel like I should have you should have at least told us.
Ah, okay, sorry. Flynn sighs and glances back at the ram sleeping in the trunk. Truck, not the trunk? That's fine. That's fine.
Well, why don't you guys go inside so this whole surprise thing isn't as weird? It's locked.
Flynn walks over to Carl's side before turning to us.
Go in through the back. There's a key under the mat.
Lit. Okay. All right. Esto. Right. That's how this works now. I will I think we will stop for the day here. I think that sounds good. Partway through Wednesday. And I assume next time we'll be able to do the rest of Wednesday and Thursday. Because those days are long from what I remember. In my head, I'm thinking that, like, Friday and Saturday will be one stream, probably. Because those are long. I don't know. Probably Sunday will be its own stream as well. There's a lot of, like, because there's a lot of, like, weirdly long segments in Flynn's route, right? Because you do have just, like, you're in the middle of doing a day, and then you have a 20-minute long flashback, right? Which is the best part of Echo. It's arguably the best part of Echo. That flashback is lit! The hysteria isn't as long compared to Leo's. This is true. This is true. Each day is pretty significant. Yeah, unlike TJ's route. Or Carl's route. Those are so imbalanced. Like, I like how even the pacing in Flynn's route is. I feel like that's why it's one of my favorites. You know? It just feels good, you know? And I'm excited to fill up, like, the, Oh, we haven't gotten any of the ones in Flynn's. Flynn just got the one new addition, right? He got the one new CG? Or was there more? Man, it's weird that, like, Jenna only had one CG in her route originally, right? Like, that's weird, right? Because we have, like, we have the photograph CG now, and then we have, like, the, Oh, what was the other one? Wait, was the photograph the only new one? Wait. What were the Jenna route CGs? It was the last one in development, right? Well, that makes me think that it should have the most, right? Like, isn't that how this typically works? In front of the van! That's the one I'm not thinking of. Okay. I forgot about the van. Completely forgot about that one. Or maybe they were done with her. Look. It's fine. It's fine. The important thing is that Leo is at least tied with Flynn for having the most CGs, right? Right. That's what matters. Oh, right. Don't they have, like, all of the different chase ones all put into here? Like, for the different expressions and for this one? I guess that would mean that Leo has the most then, right? If we count, like, all, like, 5 variations of the table. Click it. Oh, this one's so good, though. It's so good. Yeah. Yeah, I do. Oh, there's... Yeah, okay. So there's, like, 6 of the table CG. Deserved. It is very deserved. You know how it is. Oh. But all right, guys. I'll leave off for today. Well, I still want this to be like a weekly thing because I don't want to like stream this too much. Otherwise, like I'm going to like just play through the whole game in a week, right? I want to stretch this out a little bit, just a little bit. But yeah, all right, everyone. I'll see you around. Hope you all have a good night or day, whatever. Bye.